Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to WCS NA Challenger. We're hopping into a true NA match with the United States versus Canada. My name is Fear Dragon, and I am joined by Nathanius.
Whoa.
Wow.
Good to see you. I was trying to get the turn on the camera. I think I timed it a little bit too fast. How you doing, Ravi?
I'm not doing too bad. This is the match that I think a lot of people, you guys were talking about this before, probably going to be a little bit closer.
I mean, since we have the power of hindsight, and we can say with certainty, this is the most likely match to not have a 3-0 ending at the start of our show today. So.
It's so weird, right? You were talking about this before. It comes down to Scarlett. What Scarlett shows up today? Because Scarlett is the player that could totally lose today to JonSnow, a player who's, I think, very consistent. Or she could completely dominate, and I feel like this could still be a 3-0.
Yeah, it's one of those, it's like a Snoot type situation. When I think back to when Snoot was like king of the foreigners, he was still a very shaky player where it'd be like he would show up to a tournament and he would either dominate and destroy, or it'd be like, I'm not feeling that good today, and he'd just die. So Scarlett is like that, and that is probably her greatest weakness is that consistency. But her highs are really high. I mean, everyone I think is probably still feeling very good about her performance because of the way that she played back in Pyeongchang earlier this year. And I haven't caught too many of her recent matches, so I don't know what form she's in. But I would say that weakness is that it's not like Neeb, where Neeb's like in a form for like a week or a month or something. It's more of like a day-to-day, like a Puck type form, where Puck is either on or he's totally off. Yeah,
as demonstrated by her not doing so well at Leipzig, and then I think 5 days later she wins Pyeongchang.
Exactly, yeah.
It's within the span of like a day or two. The next things that are going for Scarlett right now is that oftentimes she's playing in a lot of these NA Challenger events and stuff from Korea. She's at home. She's in North America right now.
Oh, is she?
I think she's in Toronto, so she doesn't have to worry about that ping. JonSnow also on the East Coast over at RPI, so he's also going to be on the East Coast. So this is ideal ping situation for both players in a ZvZ. I want to give a bit of favoritism to Scarlett, but not too much.
All right, cool. So I didn't know that Scarlett was back in, because In Control was like, I think she might be in Korea. Oh, oh no.
She got. To be fair, she got back, I think, like 5-6
minutes ago. Well, that's really fast. That's she's cutting it close.
Yeah, you know, just right off the airplane. No.
Hey, man.
There are players that have to play right off the airplane. You know, there used to be players that would travel to events, and they would get off the plane, go to the venue, and play their games like an hour later, bomb out, and be like, well, that was a $700 ticket wasted.
Yeah, no. Well, unless you're, I guess some players actually did that and were okay with it, as far as I remember.
Yeah, like a Stefano or something.
Stefano wasn't exactly the king of preparation for tournaments. He just kind of showed up and never got inside his own head. This series is going to start off on Backwater. I mean, it's ZvZ, so you can pretty much do anything on any map. We see people all the time, this Ling Bane. It'll even happen on maps like Neon Violet Square. You know, even if we were playing on the novice version of the map where there's destructible rocks blocking your main base ramp, we'd still have that Ling Bane play most likely every game. So that's what I'm expecting. Scarlett is generally an aggressive player. She likes to balance it out, but she will commit to all-in plays a lot, whereas someone like JonSnow, I expect him to play more straight up, more straightforward.
Yeah, I think it was actually Neeb who described this to me once, where Scarlett is either the player that is going to play so perfectly that she doesn't make any mistakes. Actually, it was Peely that described this. Or she's going to go the most dirty, filthy cheese that would even make no regret vomit. So she has like two modes, and it's one or the other. There's no in between.
Yeah.
I think also these guys have some fun Twitters. Scarlett has a pretty fun Twitter, because I was told that there's some social media stuff that we want to show off.
Oh,
yeah.
Is there, though?
Oh, it's for the StarCraft Twitter. Well, you know, StarCraft Twitter is pretty cool, too. Esports StarCraft.
They tweeted about me and In Control, so I've had my ego stroke for the day, so I feel great.
Yeah, just need one.
Can't really. No, as many as possible. Hit me up. Reply. Get some engagement.
Oh, you're not a one-stroke man?
No.
Okay.
So we're counting down into the first map of this best of 5. Will there be a not 3-0 today? Stay tuned. It's time for Scarlett versus JonSnow.
The first map is going to be Backwater, and I know you were talking about how ZvZ, anything could happen. That's absolutely true. Some maps, though, you get like the cool maps like Backwater. You can take an easier third and still wall off. So there's still some fun stuff that goes on.
Yeah. You can still have some shenanigans, as it were. And speaking of shenanigans, in the top left We have the blue Zerg player known for cheesing and wheeling and dealing and also being really good at spreading creep. She is Scarlett. $271,000 dollarinos. That's a fat stack right there.
Winning tournaments, or doing well, I should say, at least since 2012. Let's find down here on the bottom right, we have our red Zerg player, one of the best in the United States of America. It is Storm Gaming's JonSnow.
Woo, yeah!
Mr. Consistency.
One Cheesadelphia for $45,000. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Considering that JonSnow is not a household name in StarCraft 2, he's someone that I will say has been getting more and more attention. He constantly makes it here. I think he's, you know, when you go into a bracket like this, I think a lot of people that tune in, if you regularly watch StarCraft, you're like, Panda Bear Me, I feel like I've heard his name before. Probably because of like Pyeongchang, but you don't really know too much about him because he is not the guy making the big stage plays. But JonSnow should be a name that keeps coming up when we have even the circuit events. Like, he's present in the group stages. Him making it to the bracket stage is not like a weird thing. He does struggle versus the top guys, but he is making his way up. He is climbing, and that makes this an important match for him because a bunch of people are going to be like, what? Scarlett got eliminated? How? And then everyone's like, JonSnow did it.
Yeah, it's exactly what you were saying. JonSnow's that guy that just keeps showing up. He did make top 4 into Challenger for 3 times in 2017. Yeah. It was only WCS Montreal that he wasn't able to make it. He was this close to being top 4 at every single season of Challenger, which is something even Neeb didn't do because Masa knocked him out one time.
Yeah. I like it. And JonSnow has some stage experience. You know, I think back to...
He beat you thermal on stage at Montreal, I think.
Yeah, he had he was on, I think he was on the winning side of the, what was it, the TESPA Collegiate Series final he did at Austin a year or 2 ago as well. So he's no stranger to playing under a bit of spotlight.
Yeah, I think the big thing for JonSnow is where he mentally falters is when he faces a player that he's just like, this player is way better than me. Like, he would do that whenever he got to the playoffs in the WCS event, like he faces off versus an Inertio or something, and he just starts playing. I would say that's the only time that JonSnow plays way below his level is when he starts psyching himself out versus a lot of those European players. But this is just NA Challenger. You don't have to worry about any of those European players. He has absolutely been able to beat Scarlett in the past, especially on the ladder and stuff. So I'm sure he's going to be feeling better about this.
It's called the rule of NA in StarCraft, which is that anybody in NA can beat any other NA player at NA time.
I like that. I like that. At NA time. All right, Sling's going to come forward from John. So we've had just straight up macro from both sides. This is a really nice map for taking that kind of easy third base. And part of the reason is if you really want to, you can start kind of creating a bit of a wall off. Scarlett showing a semblance of that with that Baneling nest, but now she's going to start making a couple of lings and getting on the other side of the map.
Yeah, there's not really like 2 hex buildings that Zerg really uses other than the spores and spines, which are kind of weird with their blocking mechanic, but it is one of the things that you can do on this map if you put a queen there and you cover the rest of it. Usually it's 2 Evo chambers and a Roach Warren, and then you can just stick a queen there and you're like, okay, I don't have to do the Ling Wars, right? I just need to maybe get a spine if my opponent all-ins and make it to Roaches.
Yeah, I mean, take a page from the book of all Protoss players that say, yeah, Zealot or something in the wall. That's plenty enough for them.
Yeah, and this map is great for that because most of the time you can't take the third because of that. Most of the time you can't get your third because of this, and you're kind of blocked in. But since there's a pocket third, it's not an issue. And you have that. Both players are going to go up to Lair. We got +1 missile attack and Roach Warrens.
I'm a little bit surprised by Scarlett even just committing to making the Banelings offensively on this side of the map, just because it's pretty standard to get this kind of wall in done. So maybe she was hoping to hit before JonSnow had it, but now she's just going to be sitting outside. It's kind of a sunk cost. It's not a huge sunk cost. So she's getting up her lair a little bit faster and everything, so it's not a huge deal, but still kind of weird from Scarlett.
Yeah, having that bit of presence is nice, but that map control, that speed, doesn't do anything for you on backwater. So that's the biggest thing this map does to ZvZ. So, I mean, going back to my earlier statement, this is a scenario where the map does have a heavy hand in what's available in Zerg versus Zerg.
Oh, Scarlett with the lair finishing up, and now she has all 6 of her gas geysers. Is she going to be going into that Spire? She's definitely going to have the gas for it. And JonSnow scouting out the gas geysers over at the 3rd may start to tip off some potential for that, but no, we just got +1 missile attacks coming out from Scarlett. She's getting up the road speed upgrade, so just going to be pumping out a lot of that and going to a faster Hydra Den.
Yep, Scarlett also got her drone count up a little bit higher, a little bit faster. So hoping to get a tiny edge there to move forward as she takes her 4th base before JonSnow gets his. And that can definitely have an interesting impact on this. She's trying to be aggressive. She's being assertive. These Lings are still here. They would love to deny this base just a little bit because she's already got her 4th underway. Anything that she can cause to delay it, whether it goes down or not, is gravy.
It is going to be JonSnow that goes for the Spire instead. So this is a nice little way to see some map control, because as much as, yeah, the map control is not going to be as important, JonSnow has really just had 1 or 2 of those Overlords out on Scarlett's side of the map, but he really hasn't gotten much information on anything, because he never got to send the Lings out around the map.
Nope.
Now his Roaches are moving across the map as the Overseer comes in, sees, okay, Roach is popping out, sees a Hydra Den, probably knows, okay, I'm not fighting Muta versus Muta.
It's all very standard, straight-up stuff coming out of Scarlett for ZvZ, but you need to be cautious. Where so many Zerg players die is right here. Actually, JonSnow's putting out a wave of drones. This Roach attack might just kill him. He doesn't have a tremendous amount to work with. A lot of his economy has been invested in stuff like the Spire tech that isn't done yet. He starts a Baneling nest.
Well, okay, he sees the number of Roaches there for Scarlett. They're not too far in numbers, and they both have +1 weapons. Scarlett also has a bit of a sunk cost in the form of not just the Hydra Den, but also the Lurker Den that's going up. So she's not fully committing to the attack right now. She just kind of wants to scare JonSnow, it seems like. But JonSnow, once he starts getting out some of those Mutas, he might be able to seize a bit more map control and keep Scarlett at home for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the primary function of the Mutas, right, is you want to keep your opponent at bay.
Them,
but he's not building them because he's concerned about the amount of units that Scarlett's been making. He doesn't want to just die and be like, oh yeah, she's going to build 2 or 3 spores and that's it. Because he can't afford to build a ton of Mutas.
He builds 1 Muta. I mean, 1 Muta kills all the Overlords.
You know, this is like one of those times you like start up the commercial, you're like, donate now so that a Zerg player can build more than just 1 Mutalisk.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, Nate.
Just 1 harass unit.
T is right next to R, so T for Muta, R for Roach.
No, it's the Pult Mutalisk. Come on.
Mutalisk?
You build the Pult Muta to run around and just snipe all the Overlords.
I think that works a little bit better when there's, I don't know, not Hydras on the map.
What are we going to call this Mutalisk? Can we call him Paul
Steve?
or something?
Paul?
You default to Steve?
I default to Steve.
It's a pretty basic name.
I mean, we could be a little bit more ethnic.
I guess.
Roger?
Ooh.
Wow, this.
There you go, that Pult Muta.
That's actually. No, the Queen's there.
Oh my God! No, it didn't.
All right. I mean, so what I really liked about the potential of this is that he might have scouted something out, but he didn't actually scout out the move out here from Scarlett.
He may see
it now.
Lurkers.
Oh
He's
boy.
building Banelings against Scarlett's Lurkers. I don't know, Kev.
Well, he has a couple of Ravagers. He could use those to start knocking back the. I like that he's engaging this beforehand. The Banelings coming in from behind.
The Banes from the back crash into some of the Roaches and those Lurkers.
The Lurkers, there's only 1 left alive. It gets taken out. Oh my God, JonSnow. I think he's going to be able to clean this up.
Wow, amazing defense. Getting those Banelings in the back so that the Lurkers had to spread out their attacks or just not hit anything. I completely agree with you. Fear Dragon attacking this army as the Lurkers were burrowing was definitely the smartest thing to do, because at least those reinforcements can clear out the Roaches and Hydras. But if you trade armies and the Lurkers are still there, you did.
Oh man, the upgrade advantage also really helped out. He's gonna barely save that hatchery. Oh my God, 4 Lings nearly killing that hatchery is not ideal, but now he takes some of the weakened up Roaches from those Lurker attacks earlier on, morphs them into more Ravagers. Scarlett doesn't exactly have that much time, but she does get out more Roaches and Ravagers. It just means that she's not gonna have any Lurkers though.
Yeah, and with this, it's a kind of a weird spot to be in, right? JonSnow's like, I've actually got this upgrade advantage.
Yeah, that plus one carapace.
Pushing in a little bit here is not a bad move. This hatchery, totally an open opportunity since it's a bit choked up here. Using the biles to push Scarlett's army away, says, I should be able to get this hatch. Is he going to? No, Scarlett's choosing to dive on this army. That hatch is so low, and the biles actually do hit across a good few of Scarlett's forces.
Yeah, JonSnow has to be so careful here because I think he is just very barely outnumbered for a moment because of that defender's advantage.
Just needs to get a few biles in that hatch, really, before he leaves.
Scarlett's not letting him get close enough, though. She's doing a really nice job zoning him out.
If you're JonSnow, you just, like, all you want is to get that hatch now, but unfortunately, Scarlett too good at the game.
It's okay. I think actually the bottom side, we ended up seeing JonSnow's hatchery getting picked off, maybe by some lings or something. So JonSnow would really love to return the favor and snipe off Scarlett's 4th. Or I guess 5th.
The adaptive talons upgrade on the way for Scarlett so that her lurkers can drop it like it's hot.
Okay, JonSnow, he's trying to split up a couple of roaches and move to the right-hand side, but Scarlett is on top of it. JonSnow says, well, if you don't have the units over there for my main army, maybe I can make something happen, but he just gets concaved on. He still has the carapace advantage upgrade, but only for a few more seconds, and he does lose a lot in the process.
Yeah, a weird fight, mostly because the lurkers actually were not a part of the end of that. They had to be repositioned, and Adaptive Talons is not done yet. Still so close. As soon as he gets a second to drop biles on that hatchery.
It's so weird too, right? Because Scarlett hasn't been able to safely mine off of that hatchery this entire time. She does have extra larvae, sure, but she's making roaches mostly and maybe a couple of hydras. It's not exactly that larva intensive.
Yeah, it really just comes down to the lurkers. The lurkers are everything here for Scarlett. A couple of good shots. Oh, he gets a couple of the biles onto the hatch. It's down to just a handful, 13 health.
Okay, one more, and I like this. JonSnow sending a couple of roaches over to the third base of the natural.
Not too shabby. Drops some biles on a lurker, not able to kill it.
Okay, and these roaches are still getting some good damage inside the natural. Scarlett is so far out of position to defend. Look at how many roaches she also sends back. JonSnow maybe has an opportunity to move forward, but no, the lurkers well burrowed in position. A couple of banelings being made here for JonSnow. Look at how many Ravagers he has.
I like this, though. He's trying to play around the positioning of the lurkers. Targets down another one with the biles. There's that one on the right side. Should be able to bile that one down, too. Does not get it.
Is he just going to run into the banelings to try and kill the hatchery? No, okay.
Ooh. Bold strategy, Cotton.
That's a lot of banelings to sacrifice for just that hatchery.
Yeah. He wants to try to run this through towards where those hydras
it's getting
are.
slowed down by the roaches.
Biles are coming, and the Banes are trying to reach the back line. Good spreads so far. They do get some nice detonations on the majority of the forces on the north side of that army. Lurker on the retreat, repositioning the spine crawler.
Okay, Scarlett has enough reinforcements to hold on for a little bit longer. Oh, where was that Hydra coming from?
Goodness gracious, more Ravagers.
I mean, every single time the roaches get weakened up, he can automatically heal them all back up by turning them into Ravagers, and he's able to corrosive bile further for not just the lurkers, but even doing things like trying to snipe off that hatchery again.
Get the bile on the hatch. He can't keep getting away with this.
Okay. Counterpoint, Scarlett has not been able to use that hatchery for anything but larva for like 4 minutes now, whereas JonSnow can actually start mining from his. So
breathe on it.
Maybe?
Throw a pebble.
Okay, sending
you can't reach it from the high ground over there?
Oh, Scarlett got up her hive tech during all this, so she does have +3 missile attack on the way. +2 carapace also getting close to finishing. JonSnow, he is on a little bit of a timer to make something happen.
Yeah, certainly on a timer. Really, it's just the positioning and the biles that don't care about upgrades, which JonSnow is using to prolong this.
Oh, the lurker's coming in from the flank. He's just going to try to cut off the retreat path.
Difficult. Well, that one lurker is actually quite low, so he is able to pick them off, but there's still 2 more lurkers that are going to come in, and that AoE damage ripping and tearing into JonSnow's forces.
JonSnow runs out of so many of his Ravagers, which is kind of the big power force for him this entire time.
Well, he ain't got lurkers or hydras, so when the Ravagers die, that's it.
Okay, and now he sends 3 roaches. He's gonna go kill the hatchery finally, Nate.
There goes my hero.
You have to oh boy, don't sacrifice
the drones.
Don't sacrifice the drones.
All right, they're going back. No, more drones. No.
Oh, okay, that's a lot of drones. Well, they're gonna buy time, Nate.
By the way, Hero Roaches accomplished their goal of taking down that hatchery on Denos.
Of course, JonSnow loses his own hatchery, so I guess that puts him at even hatcheries, but Scarlett still has that hive tech that she's been utilizing for a bit, has +3 missile tank, has evened up the carapace upgrades, and still has those lurkers.
That changeling is actually still on top of JonSnow's army, so Scarlett can see everything as it chases her.
Nate, this is where you just flood out 15-20 mutas.
So many biles are coming in on top of both armies. Scarlett does not have as many Ravagers, but those roaches are so tanky, getting right up close and personal with this force, pushing JonSnow back down the ring.
Yeah, doing a nice job pushing them back down, as JonSnow keeps a couple of these Ravagers alive, but they're so beaten and bruised, they can't really easily heal up anymore. Scarlett, she's been able to buy so much space now.
Games like this that remind you that roaches regenerate health crazy fast when burrowed, and investing in that upgrade is not always a bad idea when the lurkers aren't as big of a part of the fights. But now 6 more being added for Scarlett, and I think if she can get 6 lurkers to actually participate in a fight, JonSnow is going to be he's going to be shish kebab, I guess.
Well, that's just more reason
that are the spines under the lurkers.
That's just more reason why JonSnow would really benefit from something like Burrow, because he's been trying to go for these counterattacks to pull the lurkers in the wrong positions. He's going for another engagement. He's going to actually be able to pick off maybe 1 lurker, or at least get some damage done while he drops into the 3rd base, picks off the queen or so.
A cheeky roach drop, man. Not bad, not bad.
It's going to get
into Overlord. Oh, he's playing like a Terran now. I like it.
Okay, JonSnow has a lot more Ravagers once again, picking off these lurkers one by one.
He's doing a really good job of getting the lurkers with the biles.
He is holding on in a situation where he has just been out-teched for 10 minutes, or 8 minutes at least.
Yeah.
And still staying in this game and still putting up a damn good fight.
It's like if you did the mass charge lot all in, but then you went for like 20 minutes and you're like, nope, still just got Zealots. I'm going to do it. It's going to happen.
Yeah,
somehow you're not losing.
Oh, but Scarlett, she's able to defend and push back JonSnow while she has a massive swell of roaches on the south side of the map.
Yeah, that's going to do in that base. I think JonSnow's finally out of money at most of his expansions too, so
yeah,
this is going to become very problematic. That roach drop hits again. It's cute.
Okay, it's getting some damage done. He's actually killing more drones than Scarlett has killed so far, but now the entire army retreats back. The roaches are going to be dealt with inside that 3rd base. And the roaches for Scarlett, maybe overcommitting a little. Well, I don't want to say overcommitting anymore, because she did kill off a lot of drones.
I think you're happy if you're Scarlett, because you got that. And let's not forget that her units are just better, because she's had that upgrade advantage for so long. JonSnow is finally getting his own 3-3. He's going to chase down. All the lurkers are on the left side. You got to be real careful. Does hit another one with the biles.
Yeah, takes out some more of those, but Scarlett has those roaches on the south side. JonSnow has some roaches here.
Good
wow,
job.
Scares her back. I'm surprised.
Good job by JonSnow, leaving enough forces behind. Those roaches, I don't know.
I don't actually think they win that fight.
No, I don't think they do, but Scarlett thinks that there's a little bit more there. Now coming onto the lurkers, those biles are able to hit several lurkers at once, but not able to finish them off, and the army is forced to retreat again. Queen's coming up, though. A cheeky transfuser, too, could turn the tide.
Those upgrades, though, Nate, they make the difference there. 3-3 versus 2-2.
Yeah, 3-3 is almost done for JonSnow, but he needs a little bit more time.
Man, is JonSnow ever going to get up any other... He has a Hydra Den.
Scarlett's going up to 8 lurkers now. It's only going to get more difficult. Let's not forget, they burrow instantly thanks to the Adaptive Talons upgrade. Another roach drop.
Maybe queued up a little bit too much, but most of the time.
All unload.
Yeah,
it's a Christmas miracle.
Not focus fired. Oh, Scarlett, she goes for the lurker drops.
She's like, my drops are better.
A little bit. Overseer. Gonna eventually morph in, but he's gonna lose a lot of drones in the process. He still has not taken that south side base once again. Oh my god, this lurker.
That is
lurker.
Painful. That is very painful. JonSnow is bringing it.
Oh my god.
Back. The lurker is alive. Oh,
are you kidding me? Is this James Bond?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know what actor would portray this version of him, but
this is just dirty, man. Oh my, no.
The army's coming up towards a little bit to that north side too. Scarlett's going to try to end the game now, and I think she should be able to. JonSnow does not have a whole lot anymore. Keep the lurkers spread out. GG. Scarlett takes game number 1 in what was a hell of a first map.
So that was the story of Scarlett should be winning, but JonSnow fights in that for 10 minutes. when he should be behind and still makes it look really close.
Yeah, and I'll say that just off the the barometer off that game just reads that Scarlett is in good form. That was very clean. I like the progression in her tech. Really, the only reason that the game seems to have gone on that long was just that JonSnow's bile control was really, really good. He did an insane job of picking off lurkers throughout the course of that game. Every time they traded, he was like, yeah, you got a few of my roaches, but 2 or 3 of your lurkers are dead, so you can't actually kill me because units take a little more time to build. They cost more resources. But
I really wonder what that game would have looked like if JonSnow, because remember, he had an upgrade advantage for a bit, and he was able to utilize that, but it was just the fact that Scarlett eventually got up the infestation pit, eventually got up that hive, and started getting up 3/3 upgrades, and then she overtook him. If he had been able to keep up with those upgrades, I wonder if some of those engagements maybe goes a little bit better for him.
Scarlett did a great job of keeping in mind all phases of the game, what she needed and how she could get an advantage against her opponent. That's what makes her one of the best when she's in form. She looks in form so far, and that makes me very scared for JonSnow because I thought what he just did was very impressive, and he still lost. So I don't know what to tell you, man.
Feels bad, man.
Yeah. That game, like, you know, we talk about how, you know, Neeb makes Panda Bear Me look bad. And Scarlett wins that game, but she didn't. I don't think she made JonSnow look bad that game. That was JonSnow really fought tooth and nail, and 1 or 2 more missed slip-ups from Scarlett, or if those biles had connected on a few more of the lurkers, like when the 3 of them were bunched up, if he kills all those lurkers, everything just gets funky.
Yeah, that game just says this is likely going to be our closest quarterfinal match, possibly. It really does seem like it's probably going to be that way. We're hopping on a Neon Violet Square, which is another map that a lot of Zerg players like to go for those fast third bases on, but this is also the time. Game 2, I think there was a statistic that was thrown out a long time ago. And Game 2 is the most common game in a best of 3 or best of 5 to throw out the cheese. So, Nate, I'm looking for it.
Yeah.
I heard this.
Is it though?
I heard this stat on a broadcast in like 2013 or something.
Yeah. You know.
Yes.
Okay.
I know there's been a lot of games.
Hey man, did you know? Look, I'm just saying that.
If I just say that, I'm quoting
Terran
someone else.
win rates are like 80% versus Protoss. Terran literally never loses. 2011.
Look, man. If I just say that someone else said it, then I don't have to take the blame.
Just a factory, a starport, and a barracks of the reactor, and you actually never lose versus Toss.
You know, if you
So
open
sick.
up 1-1-1 versus Protoss, it's impossible to lose.
It actually was. Oh, that's. It was. If you lost, you were just like, that's it. The game uninstalled itself. All right, we got game number 2 coming up here on Neon Violet Square.
All right.
We are loaded in, ready to rock and roll.
We're going to be starting down here in the bottom right. Top of the blue, Zerg player from Team Expert. It's Scarlett.
Looking in form today, which I think many of her fans should be very happy. This guy, he's got a lot of work to do now because he's playing against her final form. He is JonSnow.
And Scarlett's fans sometimes have like the weirdest relationship, I would say, with being her fan because she's so inconsistent. You go to her TL fan club thread. Have you ever been there in Scarlett's?
Oh, of course.
Oh God,
I'm in it.
It's a great fan club, and there are some very supportive people. But every single time she does poorly, there's like this contingent of people in there that are just like, wow, Scarlett, are you serious?
That's
once again.
I call that the Huck curse. Because Huck was really successful at the start of StarCraft 2, and then for the rest of his StarCraft 2 career, every single time that he didn't win a tournament, there was like hate threats. Like, does this guy even like StarCraft? Is he literally not trying at all? People are like, well, you know, it's actually a really hard game. It's the most difficult competitive game there is, period. Yes, of course he's trying. It's just, you know, can't win them all unless you're Neeb, right? And I'm sure Neeb has haters now too, because they're like, I can't believe he lost Valencia last year. Like a lasers to scrub. It's like, what?
Yeah. No, those people absolutely
Forget
exist.
about it. And now Cyril has to deal with that. Cyril's gonna have people like, yo man, you made it seem like you were the best in the world. You didn't win Austin. I'm really triggered right now.
Do you think Cyril cares what other people think about him?
No. He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
We have +1 melee attack starting up for Scarlett. So going into the realm of the cheeky, while from JonSnow getting an Evo Chamber, I would say always a Carapace.
Carapace, yeah.
Because you don't want to die to Banelings. But Scarlett is either metagaming the potential of a Carapace opening, or she's just hoping to kill him with mass lings. So, you know, that's...
Okay. Yeah, this is going to get a little bit weird. When you go for the melee upgrade, it's really useful for those lings to just take massive advantages in the giant ling floods. But we're going to see, when does Scarlett actually decide to start investing into those lings? Because this also does lead, as much as this is a really good setup for a big ling flood all in. Okay, never mind. I was going to say, you know, Nate, you can transition out of the... No, there's this queen's walking across the map.
No, they're going
sorry. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second,
Scarlett's
hold on.
crazy, but she's not... she's not cool.
She's friends with No Regret. I'm just saying, I've seen No Regret do this before.
Yeah, but No Regret's like the guy on like the villain team that's like just absolutely crazy. You know, they keep a straight jacket on him at all times, and like Scarlett's more of like the leader type. And then when you unleash No Regret, you know, it's usually very dangerous, but he's also easily subdued if you have like the right thing to stop him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. It is
Scarlett's not that crazy. Scarlett's not has to wear a straight jacket playing StarCraft crazy.
Yeah. It is just the normal queens picking off the overlords to shut down vision. So. For now, JonSnow is safe, and Scarlett going to make a couple of these lings now. But again, this can lead into a more macro-oriented style where you play this very roundabout game of tag where you're just looking for opportunities to kind of move in and do some damage, and your opponent is just constantly fending off ling counterattacks and floods.
Yeah, these scenarios always get weird because it's like the Carapace neutralizes in a way for that fast +1 attack, but if it gets into a situation where you're poking a third base or going for worker kills, I guess the Carapace helps with the worker stuff, but more so than just the buildings. Like when you're trying to knock down these expansions, that +1 attack makes it so much easier, whereas that Carapace upgrade doesn't really give you the bonus trying to knock things down.
Okay. And it's also important to note that if this does go into roaches for some reason, oh wow, JonSnow's reaction is, I'm going to get up melee attacks also. And Scarlett's getting up her Carapace upgrade.
This is really smart by both players, because I think as soon as you take one fight, you realize, you're like, oh wow, this person actually, the upgrades neutralize each other, except for the Banelings. That's the kicker here for Scarlett, is that the +1 attack allows her Banelings to still one-shot JonSnow's lings. However, she doesn't have a Baneling nest. She just started it.
Yeah,
and that makes me terrified.
Yeah, she was looking to go for a lot of the lings instead, but now she's up against these Banelings for JonSnow, which are going to be able to get some pretty decent detonations on that mineral line. Oh boy, a lot of the drones softened up. Scarlett is still winning on the ling war until that moment.
Yep. That's where that Carapace is so nice. Now, Scarlett not building Banelings is
she
like,
didn't lose any drones. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's the follow-up, though. It's the follow-up that's looking to do it. And JonSnow is going full out here. A lot of Zerglings in production. He does start the lair behind it all, but Scarlett's like, I'm going to build a ton of lings, too. Let's go. Let's do-see-do, NA style.
Okay. Banelings being morphed in. Scarlett finally getting up some of her own, but she needs to protect them with these queens, with these lings to buy some time. Both of these players also getting close to finishing up their upgrades, and these Banelings for Scarlett, until those upgrades are finished up, actually, they will still be able to one-shot lings because she has the melee upgrade, I guess.
Yeah. And both players will still be able to one-shot each other with the Banes, even with the Carapace, because that's the value that +1 attack gives you. Because Banelings don't just get one bonus damage versus light when they get that upgraded.
Okay, Scarlett able to sneak in a Spire as well, and since she's on the defensive, she just has to stay strong for a little bit longer. She'll be able to eventually get up those mutas and punish JonSnow if he's still on this side of the map, but JonSnow having a hard time moving on forward.
Ooh, okay, going for some Bane trading.
Okay, I got some lings or Banelings that got into the natural, and maybe 12 workers killed. And somehow Scarlett's still ahead in drones.
Yeah, well, she was definitely the player being a bit greedier. She had the faster tech and whatnot. But as long as she holds on, those mutas can really turn the tide. JonSnow is once again tunnel visioning on the setup that he has. Even though he has the lair, there's no lair tech. So this could end up being similar to the last game and just a different flavor of it.
Okay, Banelings
having that tech follow-up to what he's been doing all game long.
Okay, a lot of the banelings for Scarlett just got softened up there with that last connection. So JonSnow, if he gets 1 or 2 more good connections, he can maybe bust on forward. But like you said, that Spire now finished up.
It's all due to how JonSnow is all in with this. If he doesn't kill Scarlett here, Scarlett's got, and it's insane the amount of workers extra that she has. And then Mutalisk tech, once these bad boys come out, as long as she doesn't die getting the Mutas out, they're going to be able to do so much. Trade the Banes for the Banes. And now, you just got to get ready to rock and roll with those Mutalisks. They're going to kill everything.
Oh, JonSnow has no idea this is coming. He's going for a drop overlord back on his side of the map.
And he's still just building links. There's no economic follow-up to this. You're down 13 drones against Scarlett, of all people, who is not going to let a lead like this slip out of her clutches.
I mean, the Bane or the Mutas, as soon as they get revealed by the Overlord, what is JonSnow going to do? He does have his own lair, but he doesn't have any way to
start a Hydra Den and 6 Spore Crawlers and a bunch more Queens? Like, I don't know, man.
Oh, this... Okay, he's just going
loading up the Queens.
Yeah.
Well, now you have nothing to defend your expansions.
Who needs to defend your expansions?
It's a
You're going all in.
Bold strategy, Cotton. Okay, well, yeah, this is it. This is everything. And Scarlett's going to have +2 for her Lings as well. Let's not forget that. So her Lings will just annihilate in a straight-up fight.
Yeah, well, +2 weapons is about to finish up, or +2 melee. JonSnow going to be able to take some advantageous fights here and there until that point, but he has to kill Scarlett, and Scarlett just has to survive barely.
Yep, that's the thing. Scarlett has all of the pressure is on JonSnow to end it now, and with Mutalisks here shooting the Banelings and the Queens coming out, it's going to be real hard for JonSnow to kill her right now.
JonSnow does manage to survive with a handful of his Banelings. The Mutas are trying to find an opportunity to snipe off those Banelings of JonSnow, and I think they're going to get the chance now.
Yep, the Banes, one of them gets taken down, so they're actually not able to blow up on the drones, which is really, really nice for Scarlett, and she's just going to come out here, fight with her +2 Zerglings and rip and tear these Queens to pieces. GG. Scarlett goes up 2-0.
All right. Well, Nate, I know that we were saying this is looking like it's going to be a really close series, and that last game may be a little bit more one-sided. I still think JonSnow has it in him, but so far, this is 0-2.
JonSnow is playing the game. These games are competitive, but Scarlett just seems to be she's in her element right now.
Yeah.
And we can really see that with just her progressions in tech during these scrappy fights. JonSnow did some very similar things. He's like, all right, I got my lair's going to come in. I'll get my second upgrade. But then the lair finishes, and there's nothing. He's like, well, I'm not going to transition. I think I'm just going to try to end it with these Ling Bane. And Scarlett's like, I am thinking about 5 minutes from now. I have a Spire, and they can kill your Banelings for free.
All right. Well, with that being said, that does mean a 2-0 lead for Scarlett. She is 1 game away from facing off versus Masa in that semifinals match. And, of course, getting that nice little seed to Austin as well. A lot of people were still predicting that it was going to be a Scarlett versus Neeb finals. And so far,
the prophecy is coming true.
She's looking to be in good form. So if she does end up facing off versus Neeb, I think a lot of people have got some faith in her right now.
Yeah, well, with the way that Scarlett's playing today, I definitely think she has a good shot at taking this. However, Neeb did not pull any punches. Fair to say, JonSnow, bit of a tougher opponent to get than Panda Bear and me, I think. No offense to him, but he's definitely more of the up-and-coming. JonSnow is he's like, he's almost done being up-and-coming. But, you know, winning a match like this is what you need to get past that, and it doesn't seem like that's going to happen for him.
Yeah.
Unless we have an insane turnaround. He needs to win 3 maps in a row to keep himself alive here.
Yeah, against the GSL level player, Scarlett.
Yeah.
Speaking of GSL, we do have spoilers around. So guys, close your eyes. I promise I won't read the names off. But you guys can see over here, if in case you've missed it, GSL Code S has been going on this entire time. And these are the players that made it out to the next round.
These are the groups.
Oh.
Gumiho, Maru, TY
the spoilers,
Innovation.
The spoilers, man. I specifically wasn't reading them.
Okay.
In case someone hadn't read
it's fine. It's fine.
It's just the players, by the way, guys, these are not actually the groups.
Apparently these are sorted in groups of 4, but they're not the actual groups.
The technology is almost there, but we're like kind of halfway in between.
I see players in names in groups of 4, and I assume groups.
Yeah.
So
it's usually a fair assumption, but this time we wanted to mix it up.
I blame the establishment. All right, the next map, Acid Plant. normal map, really. This one
Yeah.
loses a lot of the interesting stuff that we talked about.
You don't have the safe third.
There's no safe base to take on this map that's hidden. Both thirds are kind of strung out, really. So if you decide not to open up with speed, you are going to be pretty vulnerable to getting hit on that third. So you're going to have to play very slow. I imagine that because of that, both of these players are just going to open up with speed links. We'll get some Ling Bane action going on, and that'll be it.
All right. Well, looks like JonSnow and Scarlett are both ready and rearing to go as we hop into game number 3. I really do think that JonSnow still can turn this around. The play in game number 1 was impressive, but I still feel like that none of these games, JonSnow has never been able to get into a good spot in any of these games. He's only been able to either stay even or play a little bit from behind and kind of make an impressive showing from playing from behind.
Yeah. This is it. This is his last opportunity now to keep his challenger hopes alive. His match point for our USA Zerg player in JonSnow, as we have him on our bottom right corner. Here on Acid Plant, the red Zerg player. He is JonSnow.
And spawning on the top left-hand side of the map, we have our blue Zerg player, still from Team Expert. It is Scarlett. I think a lot of people excited for a return to form from Scarlett that we've seen in 2018.
Well, people want to see consistency, I think, more than anything out of Scarlett. We know that she can be good. We know that she can beat anybody on a good day. But what we want is for her to be like that every time that she plays, right? If you're a Scarlett fan, you already know that she's got the skills to pay the bills. You just want her to show up for work. And so far, she's done that today. And that makes this bracket very exciting, because if she wasn't in form, then you start to be like, oh, is Neeb just going to Serral this bracket and make it almost boring with how trivially he stomps everybody?
Yeah, she really is the biggest contender, and kind of being inconsistent makes it a little bit harder for everyone to try and have that hope. But Puck's still on that other side of the bracket. Still got to play his series out versus Neeb.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of both Puck and Neeb, so I'm very excited for that series, largely because I love both of them, and I'd like to see either one go forward. I expect Neeb to win, but I don't think you need me to remind y'all.
Yeah.
Every time I cast Puck, it's just very obvious. I love the dude. So, mirror openings, Acid Plant. We talked about that third base. It's a bit further outstretched than the other ones. You are not going to you're not going to take 3 bases with 2 evolution chambers and a roach horn.
No, I feel like a lot of the time I see Zerg players, ZvZs on this map, you end up having one player that just gets out 6 lings, pokes away at that third. That third will actually just get awfully low. Sometimes gets canceled as well. So you got to be very careful about how you actually take that third. How many lings you end up making. You can already see slight little differences. JonSnow goes for the 6 lings. Scarlett goes for the 3 or so drones. So there's a potential for JonSnow to kind of delay that for a bit.
Yeah. I mean, it really comes down to, in a lot of these situations, when a player tries to take a third a little bit faster, like Scarlett, how much will JonSnow be willing to commit to try and shut this down? Will he make a Link Flood, or will he just take his own third a little bit later? And if he does that, has Scarlett baited him, and she's going to shut down his third, and she didn't really want her third, you know?
This looks like a pretty big ling flood, Nate. I'm not going to lie. He's making 8 more lings on top of the 8 he already has out. He's adding on the Baneliness.
I love it.
And he's also pooling up his lings inside his main base until Zergling speed finishes up and he can charge across the map. His Zergling speed, I'm not sure how this happened with the mirror openings, but his Zergling speed is a solid 15-20 seconds ahead of Scarlett's as well.
I don't think that's as big of a deal. What's more important is Scarlett should be asking herself, why did these queens come all the way out here just to push this Overlord away? Why would my opponent try to push my Overlord away from my base? The Baneliness starts. The cogs are turning in her head.
Okay.
Is she going to be able to respond to this in time becomes the question, because her Baneling Nest is far from finishing. Those Lings should be able to deny the third base. Really, Scarlett should let the Lings chew on it for a little, because what she needs is time to get Banelings out. but oh, JonSnow's not even
Yeah.
going to go for it.
I
Okay, this
like
is really
this.
smart.
I
It's
really
very
like
smart.
this.
I was worried he was going to attack that base, but not doing so is so much better. A ton of Banelings are on the way. There's no universe where that Spine Crawler should be able to finish.
Well, Scarlett gets a scout on exactly how many Banelings are about to be made. That's going to be so important. She starts up the Spine Crawler. She's trying to create a little bit of a wall. The Queens are in a very, very nice position, but the Banelings go after that Spine Crawler, and the doors are open.
Drones. JonSnow does not want to go down in this best of 5 without a fight. He gets a huge amount of drone killed. He's still down 8 workers. He needs to get more work done as a torrent of Lings continues to flood across the map. And JonSnow's forces have been cleaned up so far. Scarlett still has barely a worker advantage. He's starting to pick the rest of them off.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, Scarlett now has her own Baneling nest finished up. She has been able to keep alive that third base, which is going to be used for
So it's
Larva
all
now.
down to control now. JonSnow needs to outplay Scarlett within the Ling Bane Wars, or he's going to be dead in the water without a third base.
Okay, Banelings being made here for JonSnow are about to finish up. Scarlett has a couple of her own Banelings. Remember, there's this awkwardness that comes with this third base as well, where JonSnow wants to maybe try and pick away at it a little bit, but Scarlett, she's going to move forward to defend. A lot of Banelings still left over here for Scarlett. JonSnow needs a good connection, and he's not quite finding it.
Yeah, oh, the potential for the Bane trade there. JonSnow trades 2 for 4.
Yeah, it's a decent trade, but he needs something better than that right now. He's still down 5 workers and that extra base.
Yeah, even those handful of workers has such an impact. It's a good couple of rounds of Lings every production cycle from having those workers.
Okay.
And JonSnow's going to come out here. He's going to try to grab the Queens. The Ling support is there for Scarlett, though. JonSnow has not started a third base yet, so he is as committed as you can be.
Oh, 2 Banelings trading for 4 Banelings. That's a really good trade for JonSnow. He's starting to make some magic happen here.
That's how you do it. You have to get those, because 2 Banelings kill a Baneling. So as long as you can get 2 of your Banelings next to 4 or 5 of your opponents, you can get insane value out of detonating them.
Oh, okay. Is JonSnow doing what I think he was doing? Okay, this is like the most no-regret move ever, which is hilarious because he's facing Scarlett right now. He is just going to hold up his Lings back at home, make this look like, okay, Scarlett, you win, I'll transition out, and he's going to come across the map with even more Lings. And look at this, Scarlett is just making drones right now. Is JonSnow going to be able to make round 2 happen?
JonSnow is looking for that scene where you walk away and then the hand comes out of the dirt. I'm not dead
Lings coming
yet.
forward.
These 2 Lings. Look at that. He starts the lair. That's so... Okay, this is really intelligent. So sees the lair. JonSnow's like, got him. But no gas.
She's still droning. She's still droning, Nate.
Oof. This is dangerous. I mean, she has to know there's no third base, right? What else could it be but another attack?
Maybe she thinks that he's trying to go into, like, 2-base Spire.
Did she scout the bottom left third? Like, I know one of her overlords are kind of close, but attacking right now is extremely risky. Unless she gets an insane trade with her Banelings.
JonSnow's revealed a lot of the Lings, but he's still hiding back some of them. He's also going for this attack with a lot of Lings on the other side of the map, getting some good damage done, not only just delaying or some of the mining, but also picking up a lot of these Lings.
Lair's going to finish soon, but Scarlett hasn't actually gotten any further tech. Like, if she had tried to move into roaches or something while all of this was winding up, maybe. But if she starts a Spire, and that's what she's going to do, JonSnow has a big window where he can try to take this game with the flood of units that he's been making.
Yeah, but that is also the timer. If that Spire finishes and even 3 or 4 mutas come out, JonSnow is going to be dead in the water most likely because he has to kill off 24 workers to even up the worker count, and he still doesn't have a third base. Oh, Banelings get picked off by the Queens already. He's already out of Banelings at this point.
Yep, JonSnow is just riding the struggle bus here, my dudes. As those Banes are going to come up, they're looking for something, and they are not going to be able to find it. Looking for a Bane trade, gets absolutely nothing. Scarlett's control here, perfect.
Oh, I don't think it's... Scarlett is just proving why she is so good at this game.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Scarlett you enjoy watching. She is really bringing it today. GG, 3-0. Get him out of here.
Man, we just 3-0 for every single game in the entire quarterfinals.
I got no words to add to that.
That's like very un-NA.
We had a lot of stomps yesterday as well in the Europe bracket. And that's just interesting because these players are competitive with each other.
Yeah.
But
It's just really weird to me because that's very non-North America. We were talking about the golden rule of North America. Anyone can take games off of anyone,
Yeah.
but then we just have a situation where nobody takes games off of anyone except for the winners.
Yeah. I'm a little bit surprised. I do think that unless Puck brings something special to the table, Neeb should have a good series against him. But as far as a Masa versus Scarlett goes, Masa is definitely capable of taking games off of Scarlett.
I think that Masa's capable of taking games versus Scarlett, but to be entirely blunt, I don't feel like Masa's looking that informed today. I don't know.
mean, the
Like that
games
series
against
versus No Regret was.
That was an ugly series across the board.
Yeah, Masa is one of those players also that I feel like he is. There's players that have like game-to-game form where they will look really good in one game of a series or a couple of games in a series, and then the next series or a couple of games later they look terrible.
Yeah.
And then there's players that are day-to-day form, and definitely Masa is one of those day-to-day form guys. So I'm hesitant, but I do think that Scarlett has a lot of favoritism there.
We'll see. I'm excited to get into the semis. I like Puck and I like Neeb a lot. So whoever wins, I'm happy.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we were just talking about it. Our semifinals match is going to be coming up in just a little bit. Neeb versus Puck in that other semifinals match, Masa versus Scarlett. So we got two Protoss Azura going to tear in. The game is balanced after all in that top four. Boom. That's looking good. And, of course, winners of those matches going to face off in those finals for the $1,600 first place prize, all the WCS points, and just the pride of being the best in North America.
The pride of being the best NA player on the line. I'm excited for that next match. Good luck to Neeb and Puck.
Yeah. Best of luck to those two, and we'll see you guys in a little bit with more of WCS North America Challenger as we move into those semifinals.
This poor town has seen its share of trouble.